Today, we're going to talk about one of the 5 spinal shapes in Pilates, and that is extension. Extension is one of the spinal shapes that we can really have and get the most benefit from. When our spine is an extension, we're actually really strong that way, but we don't do it nearly enough, nor do most of us do it properly. I think the first 10 years of me doing Pilates, I was doing it wrong. And wrong is a strong word. It was more like I wasn't getting the full benefit of that position. And I want to go over it today because when you can fully get into spinal extension, it is amazing the strength that your spine is going to get and the flexibility that it's going to get. And strength and flexibility together create a suppleness that allows you to stay super flexible in your body all the way till you're 100. It's really important that our spine stays supple because our spine is the life force of our body, and pretty much everything in our body is connected to our spine. So it's really important to keep it healthy. So the more that we can do extension properly, the more benefits we can receive. So let's go over a little tutorial of what our spinal shape looks like. And I'm going to put a picture here on screen so you can see the different shapes of the spine. You can see the 2 concave curves. So there's a concave curve at the neck and a concave curve at the low back. And we are all different shapes. So the shape and size of our curve is different from person to person, so that it's very unique. So what I'm talking about in today's video, you are going to have to feel in your own body and make any adjustment that you need that's going to work for your body. Thinking about that photo of the spine, the 2 shapes that are concave, that cave inward, are the neck and the low back. So if I go into extension, what automatically happens when I don't think about it is, because of those natural curves, my body just goes more deeper into those curves. So it's like that. So if I was lying on the ground, right, and doing that, I would go right into my low back and my neck. And what are the 2 most vulnerable places of your back? Where do people mostly feel pain when they have back pain? It's the low back and the neck and shoulders, right? So if we can build more strength in those areas where we get length and strength together, it could mean less back pain. And we all want that, right? Okay, so I'm sitting on a chair just because it's a lot easier to see than if I'm sitting on the floor. And for most of us, sitting in a chair, it's easier to get more of a tall back. So one of the spinal shapes is tall back. So let's go over tall back for a second, because that's the shape that all the other shapes come from. So if you sit with your butt bones both on the chair, okay, and nice and tall, draw your belly in and just get tall so the shoulders are stacked right above the hips. And you're going to feel sort of that low back curve and your neck curve, right? And your ribs are in. Now, a good way to know if you're in tall back is, I have a wall here. You can just kind of walk a few steps out from a wall, put your butt bone, your tailbone all the way up to your head, draw your belly in, get your ribs and shoulder blades on the wall, your arms down. You're going to feel what a tall back feels like. So if you can draw your belly in and really lengthen your low back into that wall without losing the shoulders and the ribs off the wall. So if you get that low back lengthen on the wall, your tailbone down, you get your ribs down, your shoulder blades down, you feel that nice open chest, your head back, tall back. Okay. So now on our chair, you try to mimic that tall back. So we're not here. If we're here, right, we're an extension. So that's not the tallest back we can make, right? Or if we're like hunched over, that's not the tallest back we can make, right? So we want to get that place where we really are the tallest we can be. Okay. So now what I want you to do is you're going to interlace your fingertips and place them behind your head. And then you're going to push your head into your hands and your hands into your head without changing the shape of your spine. And kind of, you're going to feel your back muscles engage. But if you pull those 2 points together, you're going to feel more muscles in your back. I have a magic circle here because it's easier to feel it. So if you have a magic circle, what I want you to do is place your magic circle underneath sort of where your skull meets your neck, and then your palms into that circle. Push your elbows out to the sides a bit. And then as you push your palms into the circle, your head back into the circle, so you feel that opposition force, It's going to allow you to feel kind of connected in your mid back. So, in order to do an extension, I want you to keep your low back as it is. So, your pelvis stays where it is. So, from like our waist down stays as is. And all I want you to do is lift your chest up towards the ceiling. And can you do that without sinking into that low back? So your booty doesn't stick out, your booty doesn't stick under, it stays as it is. So you have to have energy of that tailbone reaching down. Okay. My feet are anchored too. So if your butt bones press down, your tailbone presses down as you lift the chest up. Now, as you try to touch your chest up to the ceiling, your nose is going to follow what your chest is doing, right? With the circle there. You can also, right, do this with your hands behind your head. So my neck isn't going back here where my nose is up and my chest is like at a diagonal, right? These 2 points actually follow each other, and that keeps the natural curve of that neck. We're not yanking the neck back, and that's what I see a lot is like people just going right into the low back and the neck. So we lift the chest up, you push that tailbone down, and now your heart and your nose reach up to the sky, but have the heart go first, and that nose just follows the heart, and then come back to center. And did you feel how many mid back muscles that worked? Right. So it's more of like you're kind of reaching and strengthening. So I want to try to do that on the mat while lying down. Just kind of keep this all in your mind. Okay, so here we are on our stomach on the mat. Let's start with just your hands. Actually, take your hands underneath your forehead now. Okay, so now your legs are long, like you're standing. So your legs are just like kind of like the widths of your butt bones. Now, if we think about when you're sitting in the chair, okay, I had you reach your butt bones and your tailbone into the chair. So now we have to reach our butt bones and our tailbone to the opposite wall. You feel that? And then anchor the feet. So do you feel how that lengthens the low back? So let it go. And then again, just reach through the tail. And you'll feel what happens when you let go, like your tailbone lifts up. And when I was like sitting on the chair, I said when the tailbone goes back, you're an extension. So we want to reach long through the tail and feel how that lengthens the low back. Draw your belly in. All right, so now that is going to stay stable. Nothing there is going to change, but you're going to have to work it more once we lift the upper body. So your forehead and your hands are going to stay glued to each other. So what I want you to do is you're going to push long through the tail, anchor the feet, draw the belly in. Now start to lift your head, neck, and shoulders up, and we're going to try to bring our chest to that wall. So it was like when we were sitting on our seat, we lifted the chest up to the ceiling. We're going to do the same thing, but now the chest reaches towards that wall. So you're going to start to lift, and you're going to try to push that chest towards the wall. Your nose follows. And then in order to really make that work, you gotta reach that tail long. We gotta work more because we're working more against gravity the lower we are, right? So now we need a little bit more strength of the abs and that tailbone reaching long, anchoring the feet. And you may not get high, even if it's just a little bit, that sensation. Do you feel the strength in that? It's not just lifting up and down, right? That's not gonna work the strength and length that we want, okay? And that's going to create a deeper flexibility when you work your strength and length at the same time. So now let's take the hands behind the head or to either side. It's going to be a little easier now because you don't have the weight of the hands, but now I want you to get that same sensation. So you're going to try to push your chest forward and reach long through the tail. Now your head, your nose doesn't do it, right? If I try to reach my nose, do you see what that does? My head just yanks. So lead with the chest, push the chest forward, the nose just follows, and reach long through that tail. And now if you still have that going on, you can lift up and never go into your low back. We're trying to get a nice even arc. If when you come up, all you're feeling is your low back, then just keep working that until you can really feel yourself lengthening. So there's no pressure in my low back right now. If I were to lift my hands, it's more strength, but nothing changed in my pelvis because it's really anchored and working. So try to hover your hands. Is your pelvis still where it is? When you lifted your hands, did it go right into your low back? That's feedback for you. Okay, this is all feedback. So sit back for me. Now, sometimes our spinal shape, like our low back, can have like an extra curve to it. There could be stuff going on in the pelvis where it's really hard for you to even get any extension without going into your low back or it hurting. So I have an idea for you. And so what I want you to do is if you have a half foam roller, that is going to be wonderful for you. And I will go get mine and show you what I mean. So here we have our half foam roller where the top part is flat. So we can actually take our pelvis and put it right on top of that. And what it does is it allows you to have a palpation. So you can really kind of tactile yourself into that position. So if I push my tail long, I can get more lift in my low abs because it's off the floor, and sometimes when we're here, you can get more of a lift. So you can really feel, all right, when I'm here, I notice, oh, wow, my tailbone's starting to lift up to the ceiling. I got to push it more long and see if that creates more length in your low back, and then push your chest forward and your nose will follow. Okay, so the foam roller is a really great place to kind of get the pelvic movement. Now we're going to get a squishy ball and we'll do another thing. So now we have the squishy ball and we're going to put it right underneath our chest. So we just did the foam roller with the pelvis. Now the upper body we can do with the ball, so you can really feel this. So again, tailbone long, feet anchored. Let your head rest. So you have a nice length in the low back here. So now this is a really great place to really feel that chest press forward. So draw your belly in, reach the tail long, anchor the feet. Now you're going to start to lift the chest. So you're using your core here. And now you'll keep your head, like your gaze down, and you're going to start to push the ball forward with your chest. And as you do that, notice, are you sinking into your low back as you do that? If so, give me more reach of the tail, more pulling in of the abs. And then you're going to push a little bit more. And again, reach long through the tail and the abs pull in. And then let the nose just follow wherever that ball is pushing. And you're going to notice kind of your hands are anchored down, but your hands might kind of pull towards you a little bit so you can get that oppositional energy of that chest forward. Yeah, that's another great way to feel that kind of push and pull. It's really great. I also like using the ball for extension work, though, when you're on your back. This can really be because gravity is our friend in this. So gravity is going to allow us to go back into that extension without really much work. But also it's easy to do without support, right? So taking your hands behind your head, feeling kind of that press of the head and the hands and the head, so you get that mid back working. All right, now come up to like what you think is a tall back. Reach long through your tail. You're not tucking under. All right, that's over work. We want to reach long to the opposite wall and then draw your belly in. And as you go back, your chest reaches up to the ceiling. Your chest now is going to try to reach back behind you. All right. And we want to try not to let it all go into your low back. So reach long through your tail and let that chest reach back behind you, and your nose will try to follow that. Do you feel the difference versus just like kind of letting your body hang into that? That's usually what we do. Like we usually just kind of come up into our extension and the muscles really aren't working. We're just kind of pushing our spine into that position where mentally you work that arc, like you're drawing a line back and really reaching. And if I were to take my arms and reach my arms back, it can help me maybe get a little bit deeper extension because my arms are attached to my back. And now I have a nice equal arc, reaching long through the tail, chest and nose reach behind me, and then come up. Yeah. Is that helpful at all? Just understanding how your neck is actually part of your spine. Okay, so we got to be careful that we pay attention to what our neck is doing. Let it follow the spine. It doesn't pull us. That's where we're going to get a lot of neck tension. And then that low back is just super supported with the muscles around the pelvis, and that's the abs. We got, when you reach long through your tail, you're going to notice your seat kind of engaged, not overly so. You're not overly squeezing it. You want to be supported, but you can feel that how that whole power to the pelvis is supporting you in everything you're doing. So I hope this video is helpful for you when you do your extension work. Take what you learned here, and I have some videos here in the corners. Check out another video, and maybe that whole time that you're doing the workout is focused just on extension and tall back, and making sure that you're really feeling all the muscles supporting you in those spinal positions. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I loved having you here. If you want to try a challenge with me, I have lots of challenges on my website. Go to balancetothecore.com, click free challenges in the upper right. And yeah, there's like 8 or 10 challenges there that you can do. And try out an extension intention. It's pretty cool. All right. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next week on the mat. Take care.